Hey, Bob Nolan here with kind of a negative provoker, but with a thoughtfully provocative happy ending. Narcissism is a word that I've noticed gets thrown around a lot. Okay, a definition. An undeviating, excessive interest in one's self and concern for one's own welfare or advantage at the expense of or in disregard of others. Some synonyms: egocentricity, navel-gazing, self-absorption, self-centeredness, self-preoccupation. Who hasn't had moments with any or all of these? But the narcissist lives there all the time. It's his address. Okay, I'm not a psychologist or a sociologist, that's for sure, but I've learned a few things from those types of folks, and from personal observation and experience, I want to make a few personally learned provocative thoughts about this. Narcissism is kind of a code word for self-absorbed. I suppose every person has a bit of selfishness, some more or less than others, but selfish is different than self-absorbed. Selfish versus self-absorbed. Scale of 1 to 10. Selfish means you put yourself first in a situation. You know, you've got 3 awesome chocolate chip cookies and you won't even share one of them with your friend who's right there. Self-absorbed, however, means that everything that happens to you or around you or relational stuff is interpreted and felt as how it affects you. How can you benefit or protect yourself or obtain something? Selfish is not good, but we all have some, yes? Self-absorbed is very, very not good and can cause great damage. I think there are and have been individuals who have been truly selfless. These are rare. He has given himself over to something other than himself and will work and fight for that thing or person or philosophy to his own hurt. I guess the best thing for which to be dedicated would be the person of God through Jesus. But there are other persons or things or philosophies to which total dedication can be given. Some good, some not so good. A narcissist can behave and sometimes appear unselfish. He can be generous, helpful, involved, but internally it's all about him. He can feel and express sympathy, but not empathy. He is incapable, or maybe just unwilling, to put his feet in someone else's shoes. Because everything is all about him, how it affects him, how it relates to him. Now watch this. Even a good person can look like a narcissist, but not really be a narcissist. For example, he may be in survival mode. May I say that in today's culture of COVID-19 and economic crises and loss of a loved one or all of his money, many folks get into survival mode and temporarily behave in self-absorbed manners. Of course, that's never happened to me. But let's face it, a life-threatening or lifestyle-threatening crisis can make you a temporary narcissist, or something like that. But when it's over, hopefully it's over. Like the lady on the loudspeaker just before you take off in the airplane. She says, if there's a loss of cabin pressure, put on your oxygen mask first before you try to help someone else. Why? Well, that's because how can you help someone else if you can't breathe? So I have some sympathy for someone who is temporarily self-absorbed. He's not a narcissist by nature, but he's in a crisis mode. And after he gets his own oxygen, you know what I mean? What he needs to survive, then he'll help others. He'll be back to normal. I know this for myself even more recently than I'd like to admit. It's not just a person that can be narcissistic, but also can a system or an organization. The modern American media seems narcissistic to me. They are so dedicated to their own perspective and mentality that nothing opposed to it is allowed to have a voice. Hence, a titanic effort to shut the mouths of any detractor. Instead of listening and considering, They circle the wagons and resort to name-calling or even attack if they're opposed. This can and does happen in medicine, education, politics, religion, and big business. Censorship is a word for shutting down any opposing view. Have you ever read Animal Farm by George Orwell? Consider it a must-read. It's happening. Narcissistic persons and organizations make it happen. Okay, censor, to examine in order to suppress or delete anything considered objectionable, especially by the system in charge. A chief strategy of the true narcissist is the cover-up. He knows intuitively that his attitude is wrong. He wants you to think he really cares, but that doesn't stop his mentality or behavior. He can do you great damage, especially when you count on him to stand up for you at his own expense. He'll go to great lengths to convince you of his friendship or his loyalty, but when the poop hits the fan, it's all about him. So keep your antenna up and let your discernment tell you whom you can trust. Prayers about this are very good, because the Spirit and the Word know the thoughts and intents of the heart. Discernment from heaven is priceless. I'm Bob Nolan with Thought Provokers, and you be extra careful out there.